So, Jamie, crazy times in new construction. A lot going on, right?
For sure. It's been a wild last 2 or 3 years.
How many homes are you looking to build this year?
Well over 300, probably around 350, I'm guessing.
So, the number one question that I get asked all the time is how is new construction now taking 12 and sometimes 14 months?
It's become a challenge for sure. The supply chain, since COVID started, which is just over 2 years ago, um, changed how we looked at things. And the thing that when COVID originally started, Indiana was a state that we continued to work every day. The construction field was considered an essential employer. So we continued working. Indiana did that. Different states had different criteria initially. And what ended up happening is that as Indiana and several other states continued to build homes and use up resources and raw materials, the excess supplies that were out there began to dwindle. And the shipping and importing of products and raw materials and components have changed over that time as well. So what's happened is that between labor issues and constraints, raw materials constraints, there's really not any excess supply materials around right now. So the biggest thing that's changed is that shingles they'd have a huge amount of shingles left in the manufacturer's place. Shingles are actually brought out to the warehouse or wholesaler, I should say, and now it goes right to the job site. So there's been a kind of like a constraint in all resources and materials that exist out there. Plus the idea that housing's booming, right? And that those additional stresses and pressures have consumed a lot more raw materials. So it's multiple factors that have kind of got us in this point where lead times take a lot longer than they used to.
Now, in 2016, I saw the director of Fannie Mae speak. He said we have a housing shortage, and the only way out is to build ourselves out of it. And he said it was going to take 3 years. Well, we're 6 years in, still a housing shortage. Where did that come from? And how long is it going to take to build ourselves out? Was he right?
Well, there's no question about that, right. In 2005, let's go back a little historically. In 2005, uh, locally in northern Indiana here, we were building roughly 1,800 homes per year as an industry in northeast Indiana. We went from 1,800 homes in 2005 to 2009, where we were building about 450 homes per year. And from 2009, that slowly started kind of gradually picking up some steam, but we didn't start really cross over the 1,000 homes being built per year until really 2017. So locally, when an average typical year historically, we needed to build about 12 to 1,300 homes. We went almost close to a decade with basically not building enough homes for families within our community. So that plus the fact that historically, net negative migration was occurring, whereas we were losing population. Well, since 2017 to now, we have increased our population, so we're having net positive migration locally. Those things have really contributed to really the housing kind of shortage that we have today. Builders not building enough homes, as well as the fact that now we have some positive net migration within our community of 1,000 to 2,000 families per year.
And COVID didn't do us any favors.
COVID really changed all that, right? I mean, from a supply chain, as well as from looking at the total realm of people that are able to work in the skilled trades field that is required to build new homes.
What's going to happen with home prices over the next 3 years?
Well, when taking a look at home prices here historically, okay, and this is something that's really kind of unique, and I would say not only Indiana, it's on several markets all over the country that's going on. And Chris, what's going on is that you're seeing that the price of existing homes in our marketplace are up about 30% over a period of the last really 24 months. Conversely, the price of the cost to build a new home is up about 28 and three quarters percent over that same exact time frame. So as we are sitting here today, the price of the existing homes marketplace is outpacing currently how much homes have increased in price. So we've always been a market that's really affordable. We still are a very affordable market. The difference is here today is that things are just a fuzz more expensive than they used to be, and some of this market correction, some of that also raw materials have increased substantially. But I would tell you that I would not be concerned about it, looking long term what it is. I mean, it's kind of like investing in the stock market at the end of the day, right? I mean, you go in for the long term process and you look at where the stock market was 10 years ago and you look where it's at today. I mean, if you invested wisely and invested even buying just a basic index fund like the Dow Jones, it's up probably 15,000 points over that same exact time frame since probably the last 10 years. So
Very,
the
very
truth's going to be,
true.
well, your house has always been a way, and housing has always been a way for families and investors to create wealth. And I would tell you that I would not count on 15% increase in home prices over the next 30 years. But I would share with you here, looking at a statistic here from February's numbers here today, the homes are up 14.4% year over year according to MLS data. So, and the number of homes on the market is down 12.5% from a year ago. And we think it was a tough market a year ago, and it's even tougher today than it was a year ago. So, new construction is really the path forward here. As builders like us try to get ways to become more creative, to come with different types of products types, like we introduce townhomes and other multifamily for sale, for purchase type of housing. That over there allows more buyers to continue to enter the marketplace as pricing continues to have lots of pressure on it.
What about interest rates? I mean, it's no secret with inflation, rates have gone up in over a point in mortgage rates over the last few months. It's just been brutal. Has that slowed down new builds?
I would share with you that I think, January was a really solid month. February, I think, was a little bit, the weather was tough in our marketplace, as well as I think people are trying to understand, with gas prices moving, as well as looking at the interest rates. I would tell you here, March started off, and it is just incredible how much momentum is going into the month of March here. And what I would share with you is that I think the market could be maybe a fuzz slower maybe than last year, new construction, the way it started out. But I would tell you, we're picking up huge momentum here in the month of March, and I see that continuing on throughout the rest of the year. This still does not solve the problem that there's only maybe 130 to 150 homes on the market for sale at a given day.
Well, and the truth is, historically, rates are still incredibly low. Having an interest rate in the fours is, incredible. I don't think of myself as that old, but I know my first house was 7.5%. And I remember my parents telling me how fortunate I was when they bought their homes in the early 80s. Rates were 14, 15%. And the concern is that we've gotten kind of spoiled with these rates. I know anybody that is of the generation after 2008, that's all they know is 4 and 3% rates. So is the building community talking about that? Is there some anxiety?
Well, I think there's always a little bit of anxiety when you talk about interest rates going up. But I think to your point, my first home was 7.75%. So, and I thought that was good. My parents, like yours said, that's a great rate. And then I was able to refi a couple years later and get down around 6%. I thought that was even better. I never thought we'd see near 3 or 4% for such a long period of time. I think what happens is that us as builders are looking at creative ways. That's why at Lancia Homes we decided to try to find different ways to how to develop land, how to offer things like a for sale for purchase townhome housing product in our marketplace, right? Because for every $1,000 a home increases in cost, it kicks out 473 buyers in northern Indiana. So we realize that that's something to be really sensitive of, that we need to be careful of in offering different types of owner-occupied housing, like a townhouse project like we have 2 of them in Fort Wayne. We're getting ready to have a 3rd and a 4th here by the end of the year. That gives some capabilities for families that can still afford maybe to have an 1,800 square foot home at maybe a $50,000 less price point, but still gives them that 1,800 square foot that they're needing for their family size.
Where's that townhome project again?
We currently have 2 that are on the ground and we're building in right now. One is Ashley Point off West Hamilton Road, southwest Fort Wayne. The second one is on the corner of Moeller and Green Road called Canal Square in New Haven. We will soon have one going up there in Koza Copper Creek in Huntertown. And then we'll also have one available off of Huguenard Road, just near kind of Colonial Oaks Golf Course. So we realize that, there's a need for affordable housing, and we're doing our best to try to meet that need within our community.
There is a shortage of condos and townhouses and villas in Fort Wayne, isn't there?
There is, and we've been building this type of product since 1985. And I would share with you, I think when 1985, when interest rates were higher, that was a way for maybe a first-time buyer or a younger family to have a home, with interest rates being higher. I think we're setting ourselves up to look and see long-term of what the marketplace is. But also, I would tell you, in general, most of our clients want easy care, low maintenance living and lifestyles, and being able to have a townhome where all the maintenance is taken care of, but you actually own the real estate underneath the home, and you own the yard, the front yard, and the backyard. Unlike a condominium regime, condominium regime, you just own the interior airspace. The thing about a single-family attached townhome that's unique is that it's pretty much like regular, normal, typical financing. Am I correct, Chris, by saying that?
Yes, that is something that a lot of people miss. 1 to 4 unit housing typically doesn't have that many constraints, especially a 1 to 2 unit home. But what comes up often is what is a condo. And what you and I are well aware of is that the typical Florida condo does not really relate in Fort Wayne. And the answer comes down to who owns the land. Let me ask you this. You're one of the very few builders that carry the construction loan. Can you explain what carrying the construction loan and what that means to a buyer?
Well, our family's been building homes in northern Indiana since 1975. I'm second generation. And one thing that we've been able to realize over the years and been very fortunate that we're able to offer carrying the construction loans for our clients when we're building a home on land and lots that we own. And we think it makes a really simple and easy process. It saves the buyer about $4,000 to $5,000 versus paying construction interest as that home's under construction. And we think that it makes it a much cleaner, simplified process from the lender's perspective, from the buyer's perspective. And I will tell you, we get a lot of transactions from customers because they realize that, we carry that construction loan. And I would share with you that it makes our process really simple for us and simple for the client. And because that, we do a lot of different types of build a lot of different homes with lots of different types of loan financing programs, not only conventional, USDA, VA, FHA. And I think it just makes it really simple for us to be able to do it with our processes that we have at Lancia Homes.
And I know of a great lender that has an incentive program with you that gets $2,000 off closing costs for anyone that builds a Lancia home on a Lancia lot.
Absolutely.
Well, Jamie, thanks again for joining us today. Always great talking to you. Would love to have you back. Can we have you back in 6 months?
Yeah, I'd love to be back in 6 months and kind of maybe give a market update. I think things will be slightly different then as it is today, and look forward to doing a recap and kind of see what it is. And I appreciate you having me on the show here today.
Happy to do it.